this is getting to be a regular thing. I didn't mean it to be a regular thing, but it's a regular thing. What it is, I finally figured this iPad out, and I can use it for a camera instead of my iPhone, which is a lot easier. I'm going to address something today called radio broadcasting on the internet, okay, which is something that I'm fairly new at, and I'm learning from the V and from Kyler and people like that. Um, by trade, I'm a writer. I started writing music when I was in high school, really, and I'm writing now articles for with the Butcher Shop, and I'm the chief editor. I guess I'm the chief editor. I'm the one that always does the editing for the Butcher Shop, and we go worldwide from beautiful downtown Killeen, Texas, believe it or not. And we put this stuff out, and we have liberal writers, conservative writers. We have um, opinions from all over the world: Zimbabwe, London, the Netherlands, Indonesia, Japan, places like that. And the butcher shop actually started on WordPress as a notepad. Ted and I had dozens of articles and some books and everything that we were working on, and we had to have an online notepad that we could put this stuff up on so we could access it from each other's house. And so that's why we come up with that. And one day we were writing for the Tea Party Tribune up in Salt Lake, and I got a contract to write for them. But they were publishing only my stuff. They wouldn't publish other writers that were coming in. So we changed my title on the Trib from Bill the Butcher to the Butcher Shop. And then that's why people like Crystal and George and everybody else were suddenly able to get up on the newspapers and everything. And it got so good that there was always three headline stories on the newspaper. Before it was all said and done, we were the top three stories for like 2 years. It was even rumored that we owned the Trib. We didn't. We were just writers. But we were there, and we got, I guess, 14,000 articles that went through there before they shut down. And anyway, but I'm going to go back to radio stuff. I'm brand new to radio. All right. The only radio I ever did was make a record, send a record to BMI, and then distribute the record. And they play the record on the radio, and they give you like 8 cents, and you take the money and you go buy beer. That's my experience with radio. I was on a radio show at Wilshire Boulevard in L.A., which was a real estate radio show. We discussed with Mike Harris out there. We discussed how to buy a house, how to get your insurance. It's that really boring stuff, but I'd fly out there and I'd do that. I really did that. This whole thing about internet radio, blog talk, all that kind of stuff, which I considered when I first got involved with it being poor man's radio. Now, RBN, the Republic Broadcast Network, is highly professional. When you listen to RBN, what you hear is an introduction. You got to put up with all kinds of commercials because people actually buy time on their show. They sell these health products there and all that. There's no language. The V, he stamps down on the language pretty good, which is good. You've got kids listening. The other radio show that I was involved with was APRI. What does APRI mean? That's American Broadcast. Anyway, it's Kyler's place. It's a little more brass, a little more language is in there, so you don't want to take your kids over there. And Kyler is a shock jock, just like Alex Jones. Okay, which is, hey, I don't care what religion he is, he's got a radio show. Kyler and I had a difference. We've got lots of differences, actually. Now, we're friends. I want to put that out front. The V lives in Europe, and he's going to come back to the United States here pretty quick and everything. And my family has a place prepared for him to stay up in Salt Lake when he gets here. Okay, Kyler, he lives on the West Coast. I'm not going to divulge exactly where, but he lives on the West Coast. And y'all know about the Portland area and Seattle and how crazy it is up there. And it has come across the desk. If it gets too rough, come to Texas. We got a room for you. We got a place for you. If you can't get to Texas, you go up there to Salt Lake and knock on Pam's door, and she'll put you up. You are, so we're not blood enemies. We have differences of opinions, okay? Kyler subscribes to all kinds of conspiracy ideas. I simply do not. You tell me about a reptilian man or these people are, you show me a dead reptilian man and I'll start listening. But I ain't seen one yet. But that's just between me and Kyler. Now, the other thing I want to address and everything. Kyler loves to call me an old drunk. Well, I am. I've been in country music for over 45 years. I'm close to 70 years old and everything. I basically live alone. I'm still writing. I'm still running these companies. I'm controlling my family and everything. So will I pull a cork? You damn right I will. Absolutely, okay? Last night I missed the show, and I missed it for a good, what happened was I had a couple of gentlemen show up from Austin and everything, and we were talking about, my family was attacked by the CPS last week. There was a gentleman living in that same place that the V would stay in, so it's an apartment under the house. And he took it upon himself to suddenly take over the house and file like 32 charges or so against my wife for abusing the kids. Couldn't be further from the truth. The only abuse these kids have got is spoiled rotten, okay? My wife will jump up for no reason under the sun, run down to Ogden with them and buy them all new iPads. They eat the best food. They have the best medical care. They have everything they want. Their income is through the roof. My husband-in-law who died, Joe Tarajas, left them set up. And they've got what we did in real estate and what we did on YouTube. So they don't know, when they go to a restaurant, which is rare, but when they go to a restaurant, they just look at the pictures of the food. They don't even look at the price. They want to eat a lobster tail, they eat a lobster tail. So they're not abused. Okay, and the case lasted like 4 days. 4 days. You know, we always just lawyer up, you know, and everything. And Miss Alex, and I won't use her last name or her location up in Brigham. She works for the Child Protective Services up there, and she did her job, and she did it well. Good on you, Alex. Good on you. But we're all suffering under this pandemic. I'm used to being locked down. I'm used to being in the desert, Escalante, Oxida Wells, Death Valley. So sitting alone like this does not bother me. Doesn't bother me at all, right? But last night I had these gentlemen drop by, and we were discussing this and also the book Saving Carrie, which we're writing. We have to kind of skirt around because the book is fiction, okay? It's fiction, but got a lot of truth in there, and it's all about child sex trafficking. And so I had to meet with these guys and everything and say, well, this is what we got, and this is what we want to put in there. And these guys were letting me say, well, we need to say this, and this, and we need to kind of dodge away from that. And we're finishing this book, also the book, The Arms Dealer, which Ted is writing, and then we're writing together a thing called Lindsay Park, Woman Who Walks on Stones. So we're working on 3 books right now at the same time. And Joe up, and we pull a cork and everything, and I won't come on V's show when I know we're in a party situation. That's stupid. Embarrass him on his show, be all stupid and slur mouth and all that kind of stuff. But I will come on, and I will have differences with Kyler. Now, not adamant differences. It's going to upset the audience or anything. Kyler and I don't agree on hardly anything. But we were both, now, get this, okay? All you Yankees out there don't understand this. We were both born in East Texas. Well, I was just outside the border. I was born in Shreveport. I think he was born in Tyler or Henderson, somewhere like that. But it's East Texas. Now, if you want to know what East Texas is, imagine a whole state. Texas is huge, so the whole East Texas area is bigger than Massachusetts, and it's populated by the Beverly Hillbillies. You know, really. And so that's the kind of people we really are. Now, we come on like, you know, I've been to New York, and Kyler's been to Tokyo and all that kind of stuff, but we're really from East Texas. You know, we really are, and that's just who we are. He's got a diverse history. I have a diverse history. V has a diverse history. And bring me and Kyler together on a radio show is really genius. It's really genius. The other night, I bowed out of the show because I had a plan. The V called me, and he wanted to do a show on mysticism. And I had, on this pad right here, an article called Joseph Did You Know about the settlements in Utah and how the industry blossomed up. And did Joseph Smith, could he ever imagined that his little idea from the Hill Cumorah would do that? And I had all ready to go and everything. And this lady came on, she's a nice lady, Australian lady, and she came on and she started rattling off about something. And for the life of me, I couldn't understand a thing she was saying. I could understand the words, but the logic just wasn't gluing up, you know. And I sent a note to Kyler on the PM. This is crap, you know. This won't sell. I said those words. This won't sell. Okay? And when I was in the studio back in '81 in Harker Heights, I was working for a studio that was owned by a church. They were losing their butt. They couldn't pay a light bill or nothing. And I sat down on Christmas morning. It was a Sunday. I sat down with John Brandt, a guy called Fergie with the bass guitar, and my son, the now retired Master Chief Wilbur, and he was 7 years old, and he played bass. And I wrote something called the Killeen National Anthem, and we pressed it, and it made a lot of money. I won't tell you what it was all about because it's very, very politically incorrect. But it ended up with a guy named Gene Strasser up in Pittsburgh, Kansas. And then it ended up drifting over to Nashville with a gentleman called David Allen Coe. And it made a lot of money. Okay, and then after that, I cut, actually cut 4 albums. I don't own the one because I was under contract at the time. But the one I own is called Weird Wilbur Rides Again. You go up on iTunes, get your credit card out, and you can buy that. It's for real. It's for real, okay? But I've always had a saying that I always tell people, what will sell and what won't sell. Now, I'm in uncharted territory with talk radio, because I've never done it. But I do know that when you got 5 people talking at the same time, I can't understand it. So how's anybody else going to understand it? When I'm on Air Canada, which I go on there a lot, I don't know how I never did bump with it, but I'm on there a lot. Someone will talk, someone else will talk, and someone else will talk. If they have everything plotted out exactly like it's supposed to be, I get a letter, an email. This is what we're going to talk about tonight, okay? And you come on there, and if you say something they agree with, they will chime in when you're done and enhance what you said. If they don't agree with it, they just won't say anything. You know, well, that didn't work. You know that. On our show, me and Ted's The Butcher Shop on the Global, same thing. I go on there and we're talking about regular subjects, like how to make a bicycle, anything like that. And I do a lot of talking, and I keep everything civil. If we're going to get into child sex trafficking, I turn it over to Ted, and he is a doctor of psychology, and he'll use these $10 words. So in case any children happen to be listening, they're not going to understand what the heck we're talking about, but the parents will. Okay? Now, Kyler's show at APRI is a Wild West show. It is a wild, it's like a rodeo. And in some ways, I kind of like it, you know. I kind of like it, but it's not really family-oriented at all. With V, down there with John and Michael, down in Round Rock and in Europe and everything, very organized, very good. V has a real smooth radio voice. I don't have a smooth radio voice, but I can articulate. And then Mike, who's I guess he's the producer down in Round Rock, I noticed since they brought me back, he's getting more and more involved on a one-to-one. In other words, Bill, get closer to the mic, stuff like that. So I like that. But as far as us being enemies, no. Me and Kyler are just a good mix. We're just a good mix. I've never met Kyler face-to-face, but I intend to. And with the way the country is going right now, we've got to all hang together because I tell you what, these folks out there don't like us. You get these people out, these rioters and these other people and everything. We might have a discussion like Kyler doesn't believe the COVID virus is real, and I happen to think it is, and all that and everything. But we're not shooting at each other. It's just an opinion between 2 grown men. I think that this thing is dangerous. I mean, we're putting bodies in trucks down here in Texas. So that gets your attention pretty quick. Kyler, and I got him and Doc Green walking around talking loud and stomping proud that wouldn't wear a mask on a bed. Neither one of them, in fact, Doc does rallies all over the state, hasn't even had a common cold. Makes you kind of think, Kyler, same thing. Kyler's health is not the best. He's like me, he's old and everything, but he ain't got no COVID. V ain't got no COVID, you know. So it makes you kind of wonder, And what's going to be the funny part is after the inauguration, if all of a sudden we don't hear any more about COVID, it's just all gone. All of a sudden, a miracle happened and it's all cured. Then you're going to have to start. Then you're going to have to start asking some conspiracy questions. Why was the whole world dropping dead and now a man takes office and we don't have no more COVID? You got to think about them things, okay? You got to keep them separated. Over and out. Puck, give it to us.